Hello and welcome to Travel Radio Podcast. I am your host, Megan Chappa, and tonight kicks off our all inclusive series live. And these are the winners of the travel professional community. And how did these podcasts, how did these resorts get nominated? They got nominated because I put out a casting call saying, I am seeing in all of the Facebook groups that travel professionals have not been to all of the resorts, can't possibly. And so they're looking for resources from their other travel professional friends for who's been there and who has a resort that they love and who's has great COVID protocols. And so I put out this casting call. We got a lot of submissions. We also got a lot of submissions for resorts that they wanted to say, don't go to these properties. But I opted to say, if they've made this list, travel professionals approve of them. So we're not going to feature the ones that we don't like. We're just going to talk about the ones we do like. So, Matt, would you just take a moment now? Well, I should just say, welcome back, Matthew Wahlgren. It's been too long. Matt is probably my most frequent flyer of guests. And Matt, would you take a minute now to introduce yourself and tell us where you're coming from?
Yeah, I'm excited to be back. I'm doing a little dance here. It's always fun talking with you about travel. And I'm really looking forward to introducing the audience to Punta de Mita.
Yeah, I mean, let's just roll right into it. Why don't we go through some of your pictures and you can describe where they are, and then we'll get into our questions.
Sure.
Okay, oh, wait, hold on. Matt, tell us where to find you. Here is your webpage. How do we get to it?
Yeah, it's super simple. It's just www.mat.travel. That's it. There's no .com. It's just mat.travel.
Yeah, that's really cool. I really like that. The dot travel portion. I didn't even know it existed until you had this. So cool. All right, well, let's get into your pictures. All right, tell us where we are.
So this is looking from our balcony, from our room at Marival Punta de Mita. I think it's their newest resort and one of the newest resorts in Punta de Mita. I think another one just opened up recently, but they
Mm.
opened up last year. This is the pool. And then there's some residences in the back where people can stay permanently. But otherwise, this is the main pool area. And you can see
Mm.
the beach is right there. It's a long stretch of beach. It's fairly secluded. There aren't a lot of properties along here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great place to go, especially now if people don't want to be with crowds. I highly recommend Punta de Mita.
Ah. So then, is this where you're living right now?
Well, I'm living in Puerto Vallarta. So yeah, Punta de Mita is in the state of Nayarit, which borders Jalisco, which is where I live in Puerto Vallarta. And it's probably from from Puerto Vallarta, it's probably about an hour away. But if you're coming from the airport, then it's probably about a half hour away.
Yeah, and I think this is a really neat opportunity because since you're so close, you get to visit frequently. When were you at this property?
I was there about a month ago.
That's not far away. All right, cool.
Yeah,
We're gonna get to another picture now. Sorry. Here we go. Where's this area?
this is the little adults only area. So this is a family resort. I didn't see a lot of kids when we were there, but it is a family resort. But if you want to kind of get away, they have these little cabanas that you can rent and a
Mm.
little relaxing pool area for adults only.
Yeah, it looks it looks so inviting. It looks really good. Oh man. Okay. Where are we now? Oh, what is this?
This was one of my favorite things that I put in my mouth at the resort. They have a lot of good food there, but this dessert was so simple and unique that it just blew me away. So that's just vanilla ice cream there, and this is like a thin coffee. It's been reduced a little bit, so it's a little thicker, and you take a scoop of that ice cream, and then you
Yep.
dip it in the coffee, and it's
Yep.
just delicious. It's warm coffee, so it's warm and it's cold, but just the flavor of what they put in the coffee. I don't know if it's cinnamon or different spices, but it's really delicious.
My brother had a girlfriend who was Mexican, and she would put cinnamon or orange peel, I think, while she was brewing it. So I don't know if that's what they did, but I'd like to try it. All right.
Yeah, I don't know if they did, but it was so good, so simple, but so good.
Hmm. All right. What's this guy?
Ah, that's me at the
Who's that
spa.
guy?
That's me. And then she's cleaning my feet. This was, I don't know if you want me to talk about it now, but one of the most amazing spa experiences they do have, and which is one of the reasons why I chose this resort as my top resort for Punta de Mita is they have, I think was it 9 different spa experiences that reflect a different country. So they have an
Mm.
Indian spa experience, a Thai one, a Bali, all these different ones. And this is Italy. So I always go to Europe every year, and typically Italy's a part of that. I didn't get to go last year, so I was missing a little bit. So I said, take me back to Italy. And they did this whole Italian experience with wine tasting. They serve you bruschetta, little chocolates, grapes. You do stomping of the grapes.
Oh,
They
really?
bathe you in wine, all just prepping you and relaxing you and getting you excited about your massage. The
Wait,
whole
at this
experience was an hour and a half.
are you talking about Italy right now, or you're talking about this resort?
I'm talking about this resort, but this is the experience. They have this Italian experience at their spa. So this is the spa, and like I said, you can pick one of 9 countries, and they have a different spa experience that reflects that country. But yeah, it feels like you're in Italy in that room just for that hour and a half. So I want to go back. I want to go to every country in this hotel.
Mm. I want to know what they do for the other countries. All right, so then here we are at, oh my gosh, I don't know. Serve me a drink now. Where is this?
Yeah, so now we're on the ground level. We saw the pool from up above. Now we're at the ground level of the infinity pool. This is where everybody relax. There's wait service that will come by and get you drinks, or you can order food while you're just relaxing at the pool, enjoying the sunset view, or looking at the beach.
Perfect. I put my hat back on. I was supposed to start this
Okay.
way.
That's great.
I failed. I was trying to be beachy, but then I also got cold, so I had to put the wrap on. But this is the most going out I do these days. So thanks, Matt.
Uh-huh.
All right, so we know you were there recently within the last month, which is this is good and recent information. So thank you for that. So then let's talk about entry requirements. If you see me keep looking down, I've got my notes on my phone. So talk about entry requirements, please, to get into Mexico as of a month ago.
Yeah, not so hard to get into Mexico. You're gonna have to wear a mask everywhere. They're gonna squirt you with sanitizer anywhere you go, inside stores, inside the airport. Uh, and of course the airlines have their requirements. You have to wear the mask the entire time on the flight off if you need to eat or drink. But otherwise, masks are required. They're
Mm-hmm.
gonna ask you to complete a health questionnaire. And sometimes, just be prepared because sometimes they ask you to complete that questionnaire when you arrive at the airport or when you leave the airport. Sometimes both. In Puerto Vallarta, for me, it's been both. When I arrive, I have to
Mm-hmm.
fill it out, and when I leave, I have to fill it out. But
Okay.
other parts of Mexico, it was only when you left. So just be prepared for that. And it's just
Okay.
it's just you validating that you don't have any symptoms and that you're not sick. Now, when you return to the United
Yeah.
States,
Mm-hmm.
you do need to get a negative COVID-19 antigen test, and the resorts are covering that for you now. In
Mm.
Marival, as long as you stay at least 3 nights, they're going to pay for the cost of that test, and they're going to have someone come out and do that for you. And I think you get
Nice.
your results back in 24 hours, so
Yeah.
that's great. But there are other backup options if that doesn't come through. There are many labs in Mexico or in Puerto Vallarta area that you can go to get a rapid test, 2 hours. Or if,
Wow.
if all else fails, you can show up at the airport and they'll do a test there too.
That's crazy town. That's so fast.
Yeah,
That's great. All
they've
right.
really
And
ramped
then
that up in the last few weeks. Before at the beginning, it was a little bit scarce, but now they've got a plan in place and they figure it out. So they're turning those tests around in enough time for you to get back
cool.
home.
So then, you visited during the time of COVID, and it's on everybody's mind. So, what are the procedures, precautions? Like, what is this resort doing that impressed you that would make you feel comfortable sending your clients there, and even as you were a visitor there yourself?
Yeah, they have a lot more stringent cleaning protocols now and certifications from different organizations to make sure they're adhering to these very strict sanitation policies. They wait 24 hours before putting someone in a room if someone has been in that room before. So that
Mm-hmm.
person leaves, they thoroughly clean, and then wait 24 hours, and then they'll check a new person into that room just to
Great.
make sure they've aired it out and are being extra precautious. They also are not coming to clean in between visits. So when you're there, I mean, if you need towels, if you need anything, absolutely, but they're not going to clean while you're in the room, while you're staying there. They'll wait till the end of your stay and then clean. It's just to protect the employees and the guests.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and I was
Yeah.
fine with that. If you need more towels or you need anything, soap, whatever, they'll, absolutely you can get it. They're just not going to clean, every day or twice a day, right? Some of these resorts clean twice a day during normal times, but they're not doing that anymore to limit exposure. They've also capped the resorts. It changes all the time. I think right now it's at 40% again
Mm-hmm.
capacity.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot less people there. When I was there, it felt like we had the whole place to ourselves. There was other people there, but hardly any. It felt like we had the whole place to ourselves, which I kind of liked, to be honest. I just wanted to get away and be somewhere in a relaxing, chill
Yes.
environment. Um, all staff are wearing masks, so you'll see that. Now you don't have to wear a mask. They encourage it if you're in
Mm-hmm.
close quarters with other guests,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not required.
Okay. Well, and I think that it's encouraging just knowing that most people are getting tested on the way in, or at least hopefully they're being honest, and then on the way out they're testing. And I just think that there's something encouraging there. I wish they were testing on the way in also, but it makes me encouraged that there's testing going on, and that you would at least know, okay, this room needs to be lit on fire before the next guests get there if they test negative
Right.
or something or positive. But yeah, that's great. And then as far as like the scale of the resort, this is not in the questions, but is this a mega resort? Is this a boutique property? What can people expect there?
I would say it's in the middle. It's not huge, but I wouldn't consider it boutique either. It's somewhere in
Okay.
the middle. It's
Okay,
medium
great.
size.
All right. So then, I asked you, I asked people for these reviews and I said, you can only choose one. And of course, Joni Wu conned me into two because does anyone ever say no to Joni Wu? I don't know, but
Yeah.
she got me. But for you, you can only pick one and you've been to many, many resorts. Why did you pick this property?
Well, I really like the area. I thought it's a very special area. It's a new up and coming area in the region of Riviera Nayarit. It was
Mm-hmm.
a little more secluded, soft sound beaches. There's some really cool
Oh.
small, surfing towns nearby that you can visit. Buceria, Sayulita. Those were all just 15 minutes or less away. And then my favorite, which is called San Francisco, but locally it's referred to as San Pancho. And that's just a
Oh.
really cool little resort town, not resort, like surfing town that you can visit that feels,
Mm-hmm.
really authentic, and just very chill and laid back. So I thought it would be, perfect for people who don't want to jump in. They're looking to travel. They haven't traveled in a while. Maybe they don't want to jump right into Puerto Vallarta with all the people. They want to go
Mm-hmm.
somewhere a little more secluded. And then the spa, like we already talked about. The spa is
Mm-hmm.
just incredible. I mean, I love going to spas. I've been to tons of spas, all over. And
Mm-hmm.
this was just something unique that I've never, ever seen at a resort before.
Joni's on the live chat and she has just said that, haha, she couldn't pick just one. So, yeah, Joni. Okay. So let's talk demographics. Who is the best guest for this resort?
I would say it would be upmarket families. This
Mm-hmm.
isn't an inexpensive resort. It's a high end. It's a four diamond resort.
Oh, great.
By AAA. It's the only reason why it's not a five diamond is because it's really tough to get that five diamond. They require all kinds of things. One thing being that structural design and stuff. And so they didn't want
Mm-hmm.
to do some of those structural requirements in order to be a five
Hmm.
star or a five diamond resort. And
Mm-hmm.
so they're essentially a five diamond resort, just minus some of those design elements. The
Okay.
service is amazing. The food is fantastic. It's a beautiful property.
Hmm. That's interesting. I wouldn't think that like design. I mean, okay. All right. I'll take my four diamonds. Like I'm
Right.
with them. I get it. So then, for families that want to get away and be in a more secluded area, what are those options like?
In terms of, what do you mean, options in terms of?
Oh, Matt, I just read your answer as my question.
Oh, okay. I'm like,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I
that's
scrolled
okay. We can play
improperly.
Jeopardy.
Well, it's
We can
on the
play
live.
Jeopardy.
I'll take it out in the audio, but here we go. All
All
right.
right.
So now, as far as like accessibility, as far as mobility concerns, what is the terrain like? Is this like hilly? Is it flat? What's that like?
It's fairly flat. There is, when you're in the major, the communal areas of the resort, there's going to be elevators, so no problem there. Near the pool, there's going to be, say, a step every 20 feet, a small
Okay.
little step every 20 feet. So if you're in a wheelchair, someone can help you get down that step. It shouldn't be too difficult.
Hmm.
Or if you're in a walker or something like that, it shouldn't be too hard. It's not a lot of crazy stairs or anything like that, but there are some steps throughout the
Okay.
property. Going up into the building, there's elevators everywhere, so
Okay. That's good
not a
to know.
problem.
All right. So then what about tipping? A lot of people are, before they go on the all inclusive property, they want to know how all inclusive it is, or is it expected? Is it accepted? Will they even take it? So, what can you tell us about tipping at this property?
Yeah, they will take it. I always recommend. A lot of places say it's included the tipping. I always tip something, just a
Mm-hmm.
little bit. They tend to respond to that. You'll make more friends faster that way.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have maid service, so we tipped that at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But in the past, when I've stayed places and they do have the maid service every day, I feel like they help you out just a little bit more, even if it's just a small tip. You can tip 20 pesos a drink, which is $1.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I always recommend men tipping, but it's not required.
Yeah. So, Janine, as your question, I will ask it. Don't worry. So then, are you tipping in pesos or are you tipping in dollars, or either is okay?
I try to tip in pesos when possible. That way they don't have to make a trip down to the cambio, the exchange place. That's going to save them some money. They'll appreciate that, but they're not going to turn down dollars. So if all you
Okay.
have is dollars, don't worry about it. Just I'd rather you give them dollars than give them nothing.
Cool. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so now this is something that gets to me, and it would get to me if get to me sending my guests. But if I was someone who's trying to relax, and I was constantly being hounded by either a timeshare or some sort of sales pitch, my guess is that this property is not like that. You're not going to be pressured by sales desks. But could you speak on that?
Yeah, no, never, no one ever called us or asked us about timeshares or anything like that at all. The only
Mm-hmm.
sales pitch we got was they wanted us to get dessert. And, of course, it's all included. And, we didn't know which one to
Yes,
get. And they're
please.
like, just get them all. We'll just bring all of them out to you. And we're like, okay, if you consider that a sales pitch, then sure. But other than that, no, there was no sales pitches at all. But they really
Okay.
wanted to take care of you and get you more drinks and get you the dessert and do all that for you. So I thought that was great.
Mm-hmm. Now we covered the spa already. That is the next question, just in the order of questions. Is there anything you want to throw in on there before we go past the spa?
Yeah, I would just say one thing because we already kind of talked about it. It's not cheap, but it's a really unique experience.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can swing it, I definitely recommend doing one of the spa treatments.
Awesome. So then, I know that you didn't bring kids with you on this trip, but do you have any information on the children's programming?
Yeah, there was kids there. They do have some activities. It's kind of limited right now, so I didn't get a
Sure.
clear picture on that. And there wasn't a lot of kids there when I was there, but they did have kids program for the younger kids. I think starting at age 2 or something,
Oh,
and then they
okay.
had one for like the teens.
Okay, great. All right. So then, what about water sports options? What can you do from the property? What's included? Yeah, tell us about fun in the sun and the water.
Yeah, I didn't see any of that included when I was there. You could definitely, they had things you could book with them, and there was some vendors every once in a while in front of the beach that you could ask them. But I didn't see any, paddle boards or anything out on the beach when we were out there. So it didn't look like that was included.
Okay. But, hopefully, if you're watching and you're a traveler, you're going to call your travel professional or maybe even Matt, and they're going to do it for you. So, no
Yeah.
problem there. Okay, so now let's describe the beach. We know that it's walkable. Is it soft sand? Is it for shell collecting? What's this beach like?
It's soft sand. It's a nice whitish brownish soft sand beach. I was actually surprised because in Puerto Vallarta it's not as soft. So when we
Mm-hmm.
were over there, I was like, wow, it's a lot softer. I wonder why it's so soft over here. And I don't know why. I don't know if they brought in sand from somewhere else, like some places do or not. But
Mm-hmm.
there's just this long stretch of beach that was a nice soft sand beach. I didn't really see any shells or anything like that
Okay.
when we were there.
Okay. I like to collect shells, but I also don't want to be stabbed with a shell in the foot, or
Right.
or like those submerged kind of coral reefs that tend to be, kind of under the surface there. So that's good. All right. So then, what about golfing on property?
There's no golfing on property. There are places nearby, and there's a concierge desk that you can stop at, and he'll help you with those sorts of things if you want to make reservations. Same with the excursions. And there's at least one restaurant. Things a little bit different because of COVID, so
Mm-hmm.
um, they move around the restaurants on different days sometimes. But there's at least one fancy restaurant where you did have to have reservations, and so he does
Okay.
that for you. They'll even call you if you didn't make any, or you can call them. And then there are some places where you could just go and you don't have to have the reservations, and they'll just service you.
Yeah. So I skipped the butler question because I assumed that you did not have one from our other, top, conversation thus far. But do
Right.
they offer that at this property, or are they just not even offering that right now?
Yeah, you know what? They opened during COVID, so I think they're still getting it all set up for what
Yeah.
it's going to be. They've never offered that pre-COVID because they started during COVID and they don't have it now. Now, will
Okay.
they start offering that in the future? I don't know.
I imagine they might if they're four diamond. They probably will.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds pretty good. I'd try it. Now, there's been some questions in the chat, and let's get to them. Let's talk pool. How
Okay.
many pools? And is there a swim up bar?
There is a swim up bar. So there was that
Okay.
little kind of adults only waiting pool that you saw with the cabana. So there's that one. Then there is in the spa, there is a hot tub and a cold plunge, and that's outdoor.
Oh.
They have this
Mm-hmm.
outdoor area that you see the jungle, and you can use those facilities. And then there's
Okay.
another pool with the swim up bar.
Okay. Cool. All right. That's from Janine. Thank you, Janine, for asking. She jumped on with me on Instagram before. It was sweet. Okay. So now your favorite meal on property. For those of you that don't know, Matt is an adventurous eater. And you can listen to his past episodes, and there's always a good dining tale when Matt's around. Now, this is kind of more of a resort property, so kind of more of a standard menu, I would imagine. But if Matt's giving it a thumbs up, it is worth trying. So, Matt, tell us your favorite meal on property.
Well, the food was great everywhere, and we were only there 2 nights, but there was three restaurants to go to in the evening. So what
Mm-hmm.
did I have to do? I had to make two reservations for one night because I had to eat at all of them. Uh,
Yeah.
they had a really nice sit down restaurant, and the food was great, delicious. But the most memorable experience was upstairs where they have this roof bar, and they have
Oh.
all these sort of small plates. And they
Mm-hmm.
had what was it? It was like this. It was like a corn dog, but it was like shrimp inside instead. And they had all
Oh.
these just unique dishes, and it was very casual. It's more like supposed to be like a sports bar. They played 80s music every night, which is interesting. But I just loved. We got almost everything on that menu at the sports bar. There's tons of dishes. I don't know, there must have been 20, and we had to try them all. So we went there both nights, and we are just trying them all. And we asked the wait staff what their favorites were, and so I thought that was really unique. And I thought that sort of shrimp, it's not a like shrimp corn dog thing was really interesting.
So then I don't, let me see. No, I didn't ask this question, but this leads me to ask you, was there a gym on property and did you use it after eating all those meals?
No, no, no. I just fast for the next week after that. Next week I don't eat anything. But no, yeah, there's a little gym on property in the spa area. I didn't use
Okay. I typically don't go, and work out because I'd rather walk the beach or something. But there are
it.
people
Right.
who really do want to go and they want to keep their routines while they're on vacation. So it's good to know that it's there. So,
Yep.
yeah. And then we talked about, their exit procedures where they will test you on site and return your COVID results in 24 hours. What about the rest of the checkout process? Totally smooth in person? How did that happen?
Yeah, in person, we went down, let him know we were checking out. He printed out my final invoice to review, and I approved the charges. That was
Mm-hmm.
basically it. Then they give us a little paper slip, and then we take that to the bell guy. He gets our luggage, and then he gives that to the driver, and then the driver gives the people at the gate that little piece of paper, just confirming that we've checked out.
Okay. That sounds like really smooth.
Yeah, it's really simple, easy. It's great.
Now, do you know what would happen? You might not know this answer, but because this has just recently gone into play, but what would happen if you tested positive? Would you stay on property? How do you know what would happen?
Yeah, they are offering for you to stay. I can't remember. I've looked at this at so many resorts now. I don't remember on Marival. I can't remember if Marival was 7 days or 14 days,
Yeah.
but they did have a plan in place for that situation. It's only for certain dates though, so I
Yeah.
think that expires March 31st or something such. But look into that just to make sure. But they were offering some time period for you to stay there if you were to come, and they've been doing this just kind of save the bookings and prevent people from canceling is what kind of you know brought
Mm-hmm.
that up.
No, I think that that's good. I think I, I get frustrated because I was on this clubhouse call, if you will, and talking to other travel agents about, and Joni was in the room, I believe, but about um, people not wanting to purchase travel insurance. And that one in this era blows my mind. And two, like, what's going to happen if you test positive? That
Right.
that responsibility of feeding and keeping you shouldn't be on the property. You need to be prepared for that. I mean, this is like basic Boy Scouts 101. Like, be prepared. Buy some travel
Yeah,
insurance. Anyway,
absolutely. And
now I
it's
have a
not that
question for you.
expensive
Oh,
for
go
most
ahead.
people. The travel insurance. It's really if you're spending this much money on your vacation anyways, just spend that little bit more. It's
Mm-hmm.
typically less than a one night stay
Yeah.
for that travel protection. It's worth it.
Yeah. I have one more question for you that came in before we close out. Are there different restaurants with different themes?
Yeah, there was. So there was this. I guess I don't know, like fancy European kind of style restaurant. Of course, there was the pool food, which is more like you know hamburgers and chicken and grilled sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They did have like a local sort of Mexican sort of restaurant, and then of
Mm-hmm.
course that the bar that we talked about with all the various dishes.
That's my jam right there. I want to go there. Okay, one last question from Kelly Woods. Thank you, Kelly. Talk about, please, if you will, any evening entertainment.
We didn't have any. There
Oh.
wasn't anything, and I don't know if it's just because of COVID. And like I said, I felt like we were there almost by ourselves. I felt like there's
Mm-hmm.
maybe 10 other people there with us. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's because of that, and it just doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
But it was. We went up to that sports bar and had drinks and watched old '80s music videos, and
That's
that was it.
awesome,
Yeah.
though.
So
That's
so
great.
that might change. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But there wasn't anything. It wasn't like some of the other resorts where they have big productions and different things going on. There wasn't anything like that going on while we were there.
Okay. That's right. Sounds like a great beach, a brand spanking new resort with good COVID protocols and good food. And I mean,
Yeah,
it's missing a diamond, but we'll say it's all right.
right. Yeah, it had
Well,
great service. I mean, everything was wonderful. And it had lots of different room categories, many different ocean view categories. They do have the swim out pool as well on the lower
oh,
level. Now,
mm-hmm.
those obviously aren't going to have a clear ocean view. So if you want an ocean view, then you're going to want to be in a different category.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people like having that swim out experience so they can just chill by the water, at night
Yeah,
before going to bed or in the morning.
cool. Hey, that's great. Well, Matt, before we close out, is there anything else that you want to include on this resort that I have neglected or forgotten or just that you want to include?
Boy, I think we covered pretty much all of it. I would just say it is a newer resort, so if you're looking for something new, it is welcoming to families. I didn't see a ton of kids there. It is a quiet resort. This isn't going to be your party resort, so
Mm-hmm.
keep that in mind. But if you did want to go elsewhere and have a night out on the town, then Sayulita is going to be your best bet. It's a little town nearby, but it's got a nice downtown area with a lot going on there.
It's a good tip. All right. Well, I think the theme of, our next season of large group, when I say large movements of people, is going to be one for, okay, I shouldn't say that because I don't know how that's going to go because people are going to get together, but people also want to get away. Like
Right.
I think the quiet is going to be appealing because, like, for me, like my kids are in the house 24 hours a day because we're doing virtual school. And so this resort sounds
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, just double, they're changing the COVID protocols all the time. The resort's coming up with different policies all the time too. So
Hmm.
just always double check those before you book. And if you have a good travel advisor, I mean, they're going to keep you abreast of that.
That's right. And again, let me ask you before we close out: are you available to answer both other questions from travel professionals that may be watching, and then are you taking new clients at this time?
Yeah, absolutely. To both. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. All right, well, it's on the screen, matt.travel. You're welcome to contact Matt there. And Matt, thank you for being on the podcast. I appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you, Megan.
All right, we'll do it again soon, I hope. All right, this is Megan Chappa of Travel Radio Podcast saying good night and thanks for viewing this first edition of the All Inclusive Resort Reviews Winners Something or Other series of podcasts. Okay, night all.